Good morning, everyone. The dollar was generally lower overnight. It gained against 3 of the G10 currencies, but it was lower against 5. Eurodollar was largely unchanged. The dollar's weakness stemmed from weak U.S. indicators. Pending home sales and the Dallas Manufacturing Index both came in below expectations yesterday. But the big mover yesterday wasn't in the currencies, it was oil. Brent particularly opened sharply lower. Just collapsed after the interim accord with Iran over the weekend raised the possibility of an increase in oil supplies from that country. But the European opening yesterday turned out to be the lows for the day, and Brent prices recovered steadily. Silver and gold also gained as oil came back. The impact on currencies was mixed. NOK continued to fall while the Canadian dollar was higher this morning. It seems to me now that the Brent recovery may be overdone. Maybe the fall yesterday was overdone, but I think the recovery was too. Brent's now back to levels that have been seen only a few times in the last year, even though we've now got this oil supply from Iran coming in, while the Brent WTI spread is at a record high. I'd expect to see Brent come down somewhat, and with it NOK fall even further. The Canadian dollar too seems vulnerable to me, as oil is Canada's largest export. Now, the U.S. data coming out today, I think, may counter the negative impression from yesterday's weak figures and therefore support the dollar. We've got building permits for October. They're expect to be 930,000. That'll be up a bit from 926,000 in August, the last month we have data for. House prices are expected to show a steady rise. The S&P Case-Shiller House Price Index is expected to show the same rise as in August, while the Federal Housing Finance Agency Price Index for September is forecast to have risen by a bit more than in August. The Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index for November is forecast to rise, which would contrast with a fall in the preliminary U of M Consumer Confidence Index for the month, which is out already, and show that confidence rebounded at the end of the month. And the U.S. Richmond Fed Manufacturing Survey for November is expected to rise, which would contradict yesterday's Dallas Fed Index. So we could see a dollar recovery once the U.S. opens for business today. As for speakers, there are 2 Bank of England speakers and 2 ECB speakers today. Bank of England Governor Mark Carney testifies at the Treasury Committee on the central bank's inflation report and its new economic forecast. And the Bank of England's bully speaks at a conference in London. Mr. Carney tends towards the dovish side when he talks, so I think his testimony could pressure sterling. For the ECB, Mr. Mersch gives a keynote speech on monetary and financial stability, while Mr. Asmussen gives a guest speech at a dinner in Berlin. Mersch recently said that the ECB has the tools, quote, to flood the economy with liquidity if necessary, while Asmussen said that he wouldn't exclude setting a negative deposit rate. Their comments today could therefore be negative for the euro if they're in line with what they've said recently, which is what I'd expect. For more information, including technical analysis, please read the full comment on IronFX.com. You can also like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or circle us on Google+ to get more trading ideas. This is Marshall Gittler, head of Global FX Strategy at IronFX, wishing you solid trading.